doesn't it? It's your workplace. Tight alleys, busy streets, congested highways, and fast-traveled freeways. If driving a motor vehicle is part of your job description, you're responsible to your company, to your customers, to the motoring public, and of course to yourself. The National Safety Council reminds us that motor vehicle crashes are the #1 cause of workplace deaths. Now, driving a motor vehicle is inherently dangerous, but of course it's a key part of how you make your living. So it's incredibly important that you know everything you can about how to do your job in a timely fashion and stay safe. Marsh's PACE Behavioral Driving is designed to help you do exactly that. The PACE method consists of 4 components: plan, analyze, communicate, and execute. PACE is a behavioral driving method created to assist you in experiencing a more stress-free, uneventful, and safe workplace environment. There are 3 elements that make up traffic: people, vehicles, and the environment. If any one of these elements fail, a collision is much more likely to occur. In almost every case, the collision is caused by people, not the vehicle and not the driving environment. As a matter of fact, roughly 90% of all collisions may be directly attributed to people engaging in some degree of at-risk driving behavior, such as talking on a cell phone and other distracting or inattentive behaviors. PACE behavioral driving focuses on the driver because at-risk driving behaviors cause many more crashes than unsafe driving conditions. Far more serious crashes occur during favorable driving conditions versus poor driving conditions. Why? Because drivers become complacent when conditions are good and are more in tune to their driving when conditions are poor. Although it's impossible to estimate, it's believed that drivers engage in thousands of at-risk behaviors for every one collision that occurs. That's why it is so imperative that we focus on the root cause of the crash: driver behavior. A key behavior component of avoiding a collision is defensive driving. The PACE definition of defensive driving is: the best way to avoid a collision is not to drive into one. The majority of collisions are the result of drivers unintentionally positioning themselves in an undesirable situation, often leading to a near miss or, worse yet, a crash. Let's look at the 4 components of PACE and the driving behaviors associated with each. As we've mentioned, PACE stands for plan, analyze, communicate, and execute. The first component is plan. It's important to plan ahead by preparing yourself, your vehicle, and your cargo. As the driver, you have a responsibility to be ready to drive. That means being well rested and alert. Since fatigue is a leading contributor to collisions, plan on getting enough rest before you start driving. Plan your trip. Establish what route you'll take, review directions, identify time requirements, and check on any detours or road construction that may cause delays. And make sure all your paperwork is in order. Plan on maintaining a mechanically sound vehicle. Conduct a thorough pre-trip inspection prior to driving, a cursory inspection each time you exit or enter the vehicle, and a thorough post-trip inspection at the end of your workday. If anything is wrong, get it fixed before you have to drive again. Plan on properly dealing with your cargo by making sure the correct securement measures have been taken. Most importantly, passengers. Everyone must wear a seatbelt. And product must be properly secured to prevent any movement. The second component of PACE is analyze. Analyze your surroundings by using all of your resources to identify potential and immediate hazards in and around your vehicle and your path of travel. You can best accomplish this with an extended view ahead and by maintaining a 360-degree circle of view around your vehicle. An extended view ahead requires a clear view 12 to 15 seconds forward in the direction of travel. If you can't accomplish this, you're either driving too fast for conditions or you have an obstructed view, and are therefore placing yourself at greater risk for a collision. Keeping a 360-degree circle of view around your vehicle is accomplished by keeping your eyes moving. Make sure your mirrors are clean and properly adjusted to limit blind spots and maximize your view around the entire vehicle. Check your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Both your central and peripheral vision should be used to scan your surroundings. The third component of PACE is communicate. By communicating with others, you're sharing your driving intentions with them, and they're communicating theirs to you. Let's look at a few examples. Since the human eye is attracted to light, the proper use of headlights, taillights, turn signals, and brake lights are the best methods for communicating with other road users. Eye contact is another method of communicating. Although it will verify that someone sees you, it won't identify or predict what the other person will do. Use your vehicle's horn to gain the attention of others when a potential hazard exists. However, only use it as a secondary measure. The first step is to maneuver away from the hazard. The final component of PACE is execute. The key to avoiding collisions is to consistently execute safe driving behaviors. This component is dependent upon the application of the first three PACE components and ties together all of the elements of behavioral driving. Now, there are a number of driving behaviors that fit within the execute component, and we'll demonstrate them later. But right now we want to focus on two. Even though motorists spend less than 1% of their driving time backing, it is the number one type of collision. It's been found that many of these collisions are the result of unnecessary backing maneuvers. When you must back, whether backing out of a parking space or into a loading zone, you must execute safe backing procedures. That means always get out and look and use a trustworthy backing guide. However, the most important rule about backing is set yourself up so backing is not necessary. Another safe driving behavior you'll need to execute is to always maintain a safe following distance. Rear-end crashes are one of the most costly types of collisions and, ironically, the most preventable. Maintain a 4 to 6 second following distance at all times. However, if driving conditions are compromised, for example by poor weather, allow an even greater following distance. Remember, the best way to avoid a collision is not to drive into one. We've explained the four components of PACE: plan, analyze, communicate, and execute. So now it's time to put Marsh's PACE behavioral driving to work. Let's travel on a typical driver's route and experience PACE as we see the same kind of driving situations you do every day. Now, you know, any number of these at-risk situations could end up in crashes, but virtually every one is avoidable if you plan, analyze, communicate, and execute. Let's take that PACE drive right now. Well, Kenny's planned his trip. He's well rested, focused on driving, his routes established, the cargo is secured, the vehicle's been very carefully inspected, he's buckled up, the seats adjusted, the mirrors are set, and he's ready to roll. As Kenny comes up through the gears, he's reminding himself to keep his eyes up, looking 12 to 15 seconds ahead of this vehicle at all times. At every intersection or alley or entryway, he's checking for the traffic, checking for the potential of a vehicle pulling out, a pedestrian, or a bicyclist. It's a busy job driving a truck like this, but the key again is the eyes up, that 12 to 15 second lead time. Now here Kenny's approaching an offset intersection, so he's going to very carefully check left and then right and then left again. Also looking for vehicles pulling out of these industrial buildings. Again, eyes up is the key to safety. Kenny's checking the mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds so that not only does he know what's in front, he knows what's behind. Looking ahead, there's the stoplight. He's going to be turning right. He's already planning that move right now. Now, even with the stale red light here, it is a yield to turn right. But Kenny is going to stop this vehicle because he needs to make absolutely sure it's clear before he moves through this intersection. These big rigs don't accelerate quickly, so he's going to make sure that not only there are no cars coming, no pedestrians, he's completely clear, and giving a wide enough swing to the left back to the right so that the trailer will stay on the pavement. When it's clear, he looks to his left, making sure there's no cross traffic, a sweeping turn to clear the trailer, and he's underway. As he prepares to turn left at this intersection, there are a number of threats. Oncoming traffic, turning, cross traffic, and of course, with a big rig, enough clearance to safely turn left. As he waits for clearance, he looks to his left to make sure there's enough room, and he can safely negotiate the turn. Now right here, the light has already turned green. One of the questions is, will it still be green? So he's slowing on the assumption that it won't, it isn't, and he stops safely. He stops well back from the crosswalk, not only to be safe for pedestrians and bicyclists, but to give him a chance to not only look to the left, but look down the road to the right where he is about to go as early as possible. Up ahead, a low clearance bridge, 13 feet 11 inches. He's already planned his route and knows that his vehicle, 13 feet 5 inches, will safely clear the bridge. But even so, he's going to slow down to execute safely. During our pace drive, we're looking for potential threats, reacting to immediate threats, and verbalizing what our eyes are seeing. Looking 12 to 15 seconds ahead, Kenny sees a large truck parked on the right. He needs to judge his closure, be prepared to stop, and try to find an opening between the oncoming traffic for him to safely pass. So right now he's slowing, looking ahead, trying to time it so that by the time he reaches this rig, the other traffic will have cleared it just like this. Nicely done. Approaching a construction zone ahead, Kenny has to analyze the situation, look for any potential hazards, and execute safety as he maneuvers through. In this construction zone, there are a number of risks. Eye contact with that worker to make sure that the worker and the operator of the equipment know that it's safe to pass. And on top of that, Kenny still has to wait for the oncoming car to clear so that he has clearance to safely cross. A pedestrian on his right, he's aware of that, making sure that person doesn't step out, making sure there's no covered steering wheel with a driver ready to open the door or step out. While focused on those, he can't lose sight of the forward visibility, making sure he's still aware 12, 15, 18 seconds in front of him. As he approaches the entry, he can see that the suggested ramp speed is 20 miles an hour. Because of the center of gravity and the height of this vehicle, he's going to approach it a little bit less than that. As he continues on the ramp, he's already analyzing the oncoming traffic, and as soon as it's safe, beginning to build speed with the truck. This is an uphill entry, so he'll have to gain speed, analyze the traffic to his left to find a safe opening in the flow of traffic. As the truck accelerates, he's watching the mirror, checking the intervals, building speed, and safely merging with the flow of traffic. He's watching vehicles in front to make sure they don't pull in front and take away that 4 to 6 second following distance. Often they'll give it right back, but as you see, he's actually backing off a little bit here to allow that vehicle far enough in front of him that he has that 4 to 6 second safety margin in case that vehicle stops quickly. So what is a 4 to 6 second following distance at freeway speed? Just about the distance from this truck to that Cadillac. We'll count it off at the bridge. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. There is your 6 second following distance. One of the best ways to stay safe on the freeway is to find an opening between packs of vehicles, exactly like Kenny's doing right now. One of the great dangers of construction zones are lane shifts. Now, when approaching a lane shift, Kenny slows down a little bit, both hands on the wheel to make sure he maintains control of the vehicle, and tries to find an interval between packs so he has room to maneuver. Entering the parking area, Kenny's looking for a parking spot that's not only convenient, but safe. He's looking for a spot he can drive through, meaning he can pull in forward, no vehicles on either side, and when it comes time to leave, pull out forward as well. In this case, it's going to be the very last spot. Not only is he safely parked, it's easy for him to pull away. A routine drive, right? But a remarkable number of hazards. You know, out there, that's your workplace. You face those at-risk driving situations every single day. But if you'll apply Marsh's PACE behavioral driving, plan, analyze, communicate, and execute, you'll find yourself having a much less stressful and much safer driving experience.